What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago public league legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers. Back in the day, he was all SWAC. He is none other than Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we got the NFL draft, our analyst, but he's also an expert. He's an NFL enthusiast. It's his favorite time of the year. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM, and we are back. It's been a few weeks here, so glad to be with you guys. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Doing good.
Doing all right. I did as well as my bowling teammate Brandon. I mean, that guy's on a streak, man. That dude's averaging he's throwing a 270 plus each week. 300 2 weeks ago, 279 today, 277 last week. Throwing 700 series like it's nothing. And as I say that, bowling, we haven't been on for a couple of weeks, and I was reminded by one of our earnest fans, Miss Teresa Thompson. Mrs. Teresa Thompson. Teresa, I told you we get to it tonight. We get to it tonight. You can take the foot off my neck. I'm following through. Here we are. So yeah, we back and glad to be back. And let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Coach Smoke, Simeon begins the baseball season this week.
First official practice tomorrow, tryout / practice tomorrow. First game is March 19th.
All right.
Season is here.
Outstanding, man.
With your tryouts, because of like potential weather, to see what these guys can really do, is it still outside, even though they might have to wear a little extra clothing, or is it more inside drills, or a combination?
Man, I'm gonna give you the real. Anybody that show up likely will be on the team, unless I get more. Now I say that
I'm showing up. I don't know what time tryouts. I still got eligibility.
I say that though with the mindset that now, if I run into a case where more show up than the amount of uniforms I got, then okay, I got to truly conduct a tryout. So,
hey, I remember back, man. I don't know about Smoke when you know, obviously with what you guys are doing now, but man, when I played in high school, and this was at two schools. Well, wait. I tried out for Mount Carmel. I got to the final tryout, final cut, and didn't make it. But we were in the gym, man, taking grounders in the gym, cages set up in the gym, taking grounders in the parking lot because it was, the ground was still wet and saturated. So ground balls off of off the pavement, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We did at Kenwood too, man. So yeah, man. So this is a serious time right here. Late February, March, talking about baseball, man. Always can't get on the beautiful fields because of winter. So you got to do what you got to do out there sometimes, man.
Luckily,
lots of jam fingers. Taking grounders out there, man. So
luckily we got turf, so we likely will be outside tomorrow. But
so we didn't have that. We didn't have that luxury, man. But I guess my boys are getting it now. I guess they'll
have a turf infield. I don't know if it's finished yet or not, but
it's not. No, I drove by there yesterday, and
they still had it.
It was still fenced off.
Yeah,
the
infield.
But
they got everything else.
Yeah, the backstop, the bullpen are both set up.
Got the home run fence out.
The fence is out. Yeah. So it looks good, man. Looks good. So I can't wait for that to finish.
I hope they get it done so at least them seniors can play on it before they leave.
Yeah, it looks like they should be. I mean, they've been working on it since November. I want to say they started.
They have, but shoot, I drove past Brother Rice the other day. They were working on theirs longer than Kenwood. Now, granted, they doing a full turf.
Okay,
I don't see how they gonna get a game in this year.
Really?
I drove past the other day. It's still gravel.
Don't doubt the Crusaders, man.
I mean, it'll be
good brothers at Brother Rice know how to get things.
It'll be towards the latter end of the year, though. It's like I thought they were gonna be done with theirs because they started so soon.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, they gonna get this done. And like I used to drive past it over the summer all the time because I had to take my son to therapy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, they they ain't playing around out here. They getting it done. And then I drove past the other day. I hadn't drove past in a while. I'm like, it gotta be done. I'm gonna take this route because I usually take 103rd.
At
Yeah.
night.
I'm like, damn, it's still gravel. It ain't even got nothing down yet. But
Man,
so
not
I
the
was just
industriousness of the good brothers and brother Rice.
I just thought about this, and I know we'll get to our topics in a sec. Uh, Being a turf and grass combo, what
Mhm.
do you spike wise? What do you do?
Outfielders wear
Yeah.
spikes.
Okay.
Infielders wear turf.
Okay.
Most people that are uh truly stickler about it, they make everyone wear either
Okay.
molded cleats, even in the outfield, because realistically, who's about to just continue to switch their shoes when they come up to hit every
Right.
time?
Right. Right.
So most time guys just wear molded
Okay.
uh in the outfield, even with a with a turf infield, because it's just too much to switch. Because some people, like some most stuff like that, it came in tournaments we were in, and you had tournament directors like trying to kick kids out of games because they come up to the plate
Plate
with
with spikes.
spikes on.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you want a kid to keep switching shoes, like,
Right.
but they come with the territory. So
Like everybody's a catcher out there.
yeah, now the thing is at Kenwood, are they going to? It's going to be on Coach Romney to set the standard across the board. How people play on their field.
Right.
I know at one point with Simeon back when they first got it, people were wearing spikes, and that was the problem with our mound. It had holes in it because people were
Yeah.
wearing spikes. So we end up getting a like a little piece of turf to like a long little landing pad of turf to put on our mound, and we stress that you gotta wear turf to mold it. You cannot wear spikes. So, and we full turf. So
Okay.
why are you wearing spikes anyway?
Anyway, right. 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 All right. So let's get to it, fellas. Let's start with the Bears, and this is Combine Week. I think they finish up uh, early this week, right? I think offensive linemen and defensive linemen get their shot this week,
No, they did it already.
but they already went.
Yeah, offensive line and defensive line.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Oh yeah.
So we're done then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See, what do I know?
I think the defensive. I think safeties were the last ones today.
Okay. So first thing is the Bears aren't the talk of of the offseason like they have been the last 2 years, having the number one pick in their grasp. So so I don't know if that's a good thing um, or
Yeah,
not.
it should be a good thing. It means you don't suck completely.
But we did suck though. We only won 5 games this year.
I said completely. I didn't say we didn't suck. I just said we don't suck completely.
I would rather have the number one pick again. I don't know. You know that
Well,
that that was something that could have happened with that pick last year, but we don't. We're not gonna talk about the past. But 10th pick, 10th pick of the draft. So a good place to be in. But that's I think the big news for the Bears this week was that offensive line hopeful Trey Smith, guard for the Kansas City Chiefs, was told that he will be franchised by the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is one top offensive lineman that will not be on the board uh, for the Bears. Um, is there any hope out there now with him being off that we're gonna find the interior lineman that we need to compete here coming up in free agency?
I think so. I'm not as on the free agent part just yet. I will be since the combine's done. I'll turn my attention towards that. There are a couple of centers, free agent centers that will be available. That could be something the Bears turn to, particularly still with the young quarterback. I mean, the general thought consensus is you have a veteran center when you have a young quarterback. Even though Caleb is going to his second season, he's still a young quarterback, and it's a whole new system. So sometimes you want a veteran that can come in that has some experience that can help with the line calls and determining where the Mike linebacker is and all the other stuff that is endemic to being efficient when it comes to your blocking schemes. So I think that's a strong possibility. There are a couple of decent ones in the draft, but I think they're probably going to go veteran in terms of free agent center. I believe they'll probably get another interior person. Who that'll be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a great person. Or if I had my druthers, I would take the Bears' current left tackle and move him inside with his athleticism, and he won't have to deal with the bull rush in terms of a guy gathering speed
That
off the corner.
Braxton.
Yeah,
Yes,
Braxton
Braxton
Jones.
Jones.
Braxton.
That his biggest weakness or area of concern that's been plaguing him since he came into the league was dealing with that speed to power bull rush off the edge. Athletically, he can get there. He just hasn't been able to sustain and hold the block when someone really puts their strength behind it. That being said, you move him inside, you lessen some of that that speed that can add to the strength. And with his athleticism, his quickness, he can kind of neutralize someone else's strength. Plus, you get him out into space. He's a very good run blocker. You use his athleticism, and if the Bears retain Tevin, that's someone that you can put Tevin back to the right side, put him next to right, and right there, your interior is a lot better if you have a veteran center and you draft one of these really good left tackles that should be available by the 10th pick. Now, all of a sudden, and whoever else is on the Bears offensive line that's decent, maybe keep them as, just some depth. But if you do something like that, you have an extremely athletic offensive line that can be physical, but also has enough versatility that you can do different things with your passing, whether it's rolling out to give Caleb some more time, whether it's allowing your offensive line to zone block or do better screens. These are things that we've been screaming about for a long time, and the Bears have a great opportunity to do that. So hopefully they're of that mindset that they can take these potential options that they have and utilize them to the best of their ability.
You good with bringing Tevin Jenkins back?
I'm not counting on him, but he's still one of the best. When healthy, he was the best
When
lineman the
healthy,
Bears had.
that's the
Yeah,
question though.
I understand. I mean, you still draft. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you eschew drafting offensive linemen. I'm saying that if say at the beginning of the year you have Tevin being healthy, if you move him to the right side, which is where he was probably better, and it's less asked of you athletically as a right guard than as a left guard per se when it comes to pulling and stuff. I mean, it still can happen either or, but you put him next to right. I think those two guys with their athleticism and their nastiness really helps your right side be something that you can utilize, whether it's running off that side or having Caleb roll to his right, where Caleb is very dangerous and he rolls outside the pocket, especially to his right. I think if you move Braxton inside, that gives you the athletic interior that you've been missing for a while. It's someone who's basically relatively healthy for the most part. So you improve that and you get some consistency. Plus, you're still keeping some continuity that you've built over the years by having 3 of your 5 offensive linemen been guys that have played together, or at least played on the line. But you get a veteran, that being Braxton, next to hopefully your left tackle, who's probably a rookie but very talented. So that helps him out a little bit as well. And you just get a solid center. I think you can have, a very serviceable, if not, not average to good line going forward, that one that can get better, especially with Ben Johnson and the way that he's been able to scheme things up. And based on how else the Bears fortify themselves with their skill players, you can have a very explosive offensive line that helps your offense overall be that much more explosive with the skill players, because the quarterback will have time to throw the ball, and the skill guys have time to actually get into their routes and get out of their routes, and, get open. So yeah, I think the key for the Bears is to get an athletic line, and one that gives you that versatility of movement, and so they're not so static and not trying to be like a power. That maybe if you want to develop into a power running offense, maybe you do that over time. But I think right now you need to go with athleticism. And if you look at the guys that are coming out in this draft, a lot of these offensive linemen are extremely athletic this year.
So speaking of those offensive linemen, the Bears, like I said, at 10.
Yeah.
So you're hoping that you're going to get at least one of the two best linemen on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And those would be with the guy from LSU.
Well, Will Campbell.
Will Campbell, yeah.
I think Will, he's athletic. He's got good quickness, especially side to side lateral agility, decent speed up the field. He's a very good blocker. He's All-American. He's consistent. The butt that's coming is his arms are short, and it seems like such a silly thing per se to say that's going to knock a person down. But at the left tackle position, you want to have
You
the
said
ability.
that about somebody else before. Who
So
was
Skoronski from Northwestern.
Yeah, and they moved him inside.
You
Yeah.
did.
And they moved him inside of Tennessee. And I think you had the kid from was it Slater from Northwestern, who's with the Chargers, and I think he's still on the outside. But when your arm at the NFL level, inches, centimeters sometimes make a difference. And with your arm length, when it comes to these edge rushers, they are so talented and so versatile. You got guys that are power guys, and you got guys that are speed guys. I mean, you have a long arms, keeping those speed guys just enough with your length to keep them away or ride them around. It makes a difference. When your arms are shorter, they can close that gap sooner.
You want to, as an offensive lineman, you want to create some type of separation.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you let them in too close, they can blow by you. They can do rip by you and pull you. So that extra they got Will Campbell. He measured in at 33, a 33-inch arms.
Okay. Which is okay. You probably want something like
probably
close
want
to
30. You probably want 30,
35.
I say 30, 37.
Well, that's exceptional.
Yeah,
you don't find too many guys with that. But yeah, if you can find that's one of the reasons why Amagaji was drafted. He's got that length and athleticism. He's got really long arms. And
38 right here, by the way.
Who, you?
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Get Bears. Yo, you listening?
No, it's too late now. Nah, they missed their chance on that one.
Get him out there. That being said, Kelvin Banks is extremely athletic. Earlier, I was talking to you guys about that first 10 off of 40, the split time, the first 10 yards. And he had one of the better ones from this combine. It was 15.86 seconds, which is pretty good. And Will Campbell wasn't too far away, 16.4. Of the two, Kelvin is a bit more athletic. And
that's for a kid from Texas.
From Texas. I'm sorry, a kid from Texas. And what our general manager's done, he tends to lean into the more athletic offensive lineman, whatever the reason or reasons may be. And I get it. I do. It's part of the reason why Braxton was drafted, part of the reason why, a right tackle was drafted, part of the reason why Karan Amagaji was drafted, because of athleticism. So if you go by his history, someone like Kelvin Banks really appeals to him. But I'll give you a name, someone that might move up and could be there at 10. He arguably might be the first offensive lineman taken off the draft board. And if that kind of rumor mill gets going, the Bears might want to move, potentially sooner if they can. I don't know if they want to move up or not. But Armand Nimbo out of Missouri. He's 6'4.5", 332. So he's bigger between Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks. Both of those guys are like 6'5", 6'6", 315, 320. This guy's a little bit shorter, but a lot heavier, but he's a lot more powerful. And you're talking about us being concerned so much about how Braxton was taken advantage of by power rushers. Mimbo, that would not happen to him at all. And his arm length is a little bit longer than those guys as well. Extremely athletic, can get after it. And sometimes when you're not the number one or number two guy, you're the other guy that has to like prove it. Sometimes, you know, you have that chip on your shoulder, like I should have been the first guy taken. So a guy like him, I can see being there, and I wouldn't be upset at all if the Bears took him. You're
What you
cracking up.
mean?
What's up?
No, I'm
He was
sneezing,
having
bro.
some,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
My nose
Oh, my
is.
bad. I was like,
I'm
I'm
trying to
sorry,
make
man.
sure.
I'm,
No, I'm trying to
the
make
guys from
sure it don't
Missouri, I mean, they're not bad.
affect the pod. I'm trying to make sure I'm quiet as ever doing it, but
There's some other guys I'm moving up to. I think the Bears, if they're getting a tackle, they definitely want to lean towards the left tackle. I mean, Wright's going to be our right tackle, so I don't think they're going to move off of that. Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, again, extremely athletic, a guy who had an injury, however, and so he didn't finish. I think he maybe missed the last 6, 7 games, including the playoffs, maybe the last 8 games. So we're going to see what he does at his pro day. He didn't really do much at the combine, but here's a guy who is extremely athletic as well. Can get after it. Very cerebral. I like his approach to the game. Someone who has very good recall. Someone who can be a leader on the offensive line. That's the kind of person you don't mind having in the locker room and on your offensive line, as far as being that person who's going to hold himself and everyone else accountable. And someone like him may drop a little bit because of the injury, but we're talking pick 10. I think those three guys I mentioned, Campbell, Banks, and Mimbo out of Missouri, I think one of those three should be the Bears' first pick at 10. That being said, if for some strange, weird reason Abdul Carter were to fall, then, you know, screw what I just said and you jump all over it and take that guy. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if I'm Cleveland, I'm the Cleveland Browns, and as much as Myles Garrett has said he wanted to trade, as much as they should probably do right because he suffered in Cleveland, there's 31 other teams that would take Myles Garrett. I think you can get, if you're the Browns, you can get a haul. And seeing as how they're still underfoot with Watson's contract, getting Abdul Carter, because when you talk about contracts and those who get paid, and NFL is one of, it's really weird out of all the professional sports. They're the one with pay by position, not necessarily how if you're the best player. So quarterbacks, and we've seen a lot of bad quarterbacks still take the bulk of the money off of a team. Quarterback's the highest paid position, and then generally now it's wide receiver and or that exceptional edge rusher. The receiver, edge rusher are like 2 and 3, 3 and 2, respectively. So you getting Abdul Carter, if you're the Browns, gives you that flexibility. We talk about the rookie contract for quarterbacks. Same thing could be said for a wide receiver, or in this case, an edge rusher, because I'm not saying he's Myles Garrett, but you are replacing that same position with an exceptional athlete. And then it still gives you the flexibility to with the draft picks you would get by trading Myles Garrett to address your quarterback position.
You think they can get the first pick of the draft for Myles Garrett?
No. You get a first rounder for Myles Garrett for this year.
Well, yeah, I think you can get, but I don't think it'll be no early first round pick.
No, they don't. They got the second pick overall. So
the Browns do. Oh,
yeah, they got the second pick overall. That's what I'm saying. They can get Abdul Carter.
About that. I didn't even think about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the chances are for him falling to the Bears may not happen, especially if the Browns trade Garrett.
But I don't know why I was thinking the Browns were further down in the draft. You're right. They have the number 2 pick. You're right.
So if I'm the Browns, I mean, I do that, and you know, getting a quarterback, I don't think they're not going to get a free agent quarterback, but there's some quarterbacks that they could probably take in the second or third round that they may be able to build around. A guy like Quinn Ewers would probably be there in the third round for them, and that's someone that you can build around. He played injured a lot last year. Year before last was probably his best collegiate year. He has a lot of talent, a little inconsistent, but with a good offensive line, good talent around you, and a good coaching staff, I think you can win with him. I mean, they were in the playoffs the last 2 years at Texas, so he is and has been an effective quarterback. Jackson Dart may not be there. He's got some upside as well. But if you really want to go out in terms of the development, Jalen Milroe can be that development quarterback you have. And maybe the Browns take a bit of a hit this year and next year, but you can build on an athlete like Milroe and possibly develop him. But to me, that's a bit of a stretch. But anyway, no one cares about the Browns. We're talking about the Bears here in
Breaking down that
Chicago.
Browns draft, baby.
Yeah. Back to the other team that begins with a B, the Bears. I think when you look at the Bears and what they're picking this year and where they're picking this year, you're talking that they have the first pick, the 10th pick, first round pick again this year, and that being the 10th pick, and then I believe they've got the 39th and the 41st. Now, some trades may change all that, everybody, so understand we're just talking about how things are right now. But right now, the Bears have the 39th pick, and then they have another second-round pick at 41. And if they're able to maintain that spatiality, but just for 2 spots in between, you can really focus in on what you need. Now, personally, I would like to see them go lineman. But if you get an edge rusher at 39, because this is a very deep class, deep draft for edge rushers, and that the class of edge rushers coming out this year is phenomenal. A guy like Landon Jackson should be there at 39. That might be a little high for some people. He got banged up a little bit this year, played in Arkansas. You talk about wingspan, that dude has an 80-inch wingspan. It might be 80, 81. He's 6'6", about 267, 270.
It's very difficult for him to find shirts.
Yes, without a doubt. But he'll be able to afford them because he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be in the NFL for some time. He is one of the more fluid big men I've ever seen at that size. I've seen him drop back into zone coverage comfortably, and he's got really good hands. He's like a tight end he's got tight end athleticism at an edge rushing position and the nastiness of a defensive lineman. I've seen him get through double teams. He pretty much wrecked Tennessee the time Tennessee lost to Arkansas this year, and he had his way on that side. And the great thing is he plays more. He can move him around, but he plays more so off that right edge. So you have him on opposite Sweat. That gives the Bears something to really cause havoc on the defensive line. And with our secondary, you're talking a lot of interceptions, a lot of pressured turnover, whether it's fumbles, but definitely tip passes, interceptions, and stuff. And he's got that wingspan. I mean, you talk his arm length at the line, a lot of body passes, and you can do the crazy thing. And I know our former head coach is no longer here, and he liked to drop defensive linemen into zone coverage. Well, he could have
Always
done
a
that.
bad idea.
Well, we've got a guy like Landon Jackson. You can actually do that. And I've seen him do that. I've seen him drop back like 10, 15 yards and snag a ball comfortably. It's just like, why is he there? And why is he making it? Why is he picking a ball off like, he's a safety? So he's someone that I think could be there. But some guys tend to drop. Guys like James Pierce out of Tennessee, he ran a 4.47 at the combine. Usually that's something, that's ridiculous. Yeah, he's like 6'5", 240 something, 250 something like that. Usually would definitely make you a first round pick, and he'll probably be there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles take him, which would be just crazy. The rich getting richer, but it is such a deep class, as I mentioned, with these edge rushers, that at 39, that should be there for the Bears. You got a guy like Shamar Stewart. He's climbing up the boards. He's another freak of nature, 6'5", 267. He ran a 4.6 at the combine. He's got a 40-inch vertical. His broad jump was like 10 feet 11 inches. Now, why do I mention those numbers, the vertical and the broad jump? Right. That tends to show how explosive a player can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when you want that coming off the edge, and just think of his numbers, his attributes, his physical attributes pretty much are comparable to Myles Garrett. They showed that during the combine. So a guy like Nick Skirton, who originally started at Purdue, transferred to Texas A&M, had a great, back-to-back years. He didn't have as many sacks this year at Texas A&M, but it's just as disruptive. Guy like him, he's projected to be there in the second round as well. Princely Umamielen, originally out of Florida, he transferred to Ole Miss, and again, extremely athletic, long arms. He had 10.5 sacks this year. these guys will be there, whether it's at 39 or 41. So the Bears should, in my opinion, come with another edge rusher at that point. But two of the first three picks they have should address the offensive line.
Yeah, so 10 is definitely tackle.
It's
No
got to
doubt.
be, unless, I mean, I honestly don't know if there's a position when you look at it at 10 that is really going to be something that you're going to say makes sense to take more so than offensive lineman because of who we have. I mean, we got the quarterback last year, right? You got the wide receiver in your top 10 picks. Well, the quarterback needs time to throw the ball. The receiver needs time to get downfield. You need to have someone that can give those guys that time. Almost by definition, you need to draft offensive lineman. The Bears' offensive line was just garbage, and clearly 4 new or at least 3 new, and someone maybe someone being Braxton utilized in a different position per se. But you have to address it's basically going to be a completely new line, and so you should start with a building block at left tackle. Most good teams, great teams have someone at that position, and sometimes someone you can have be there for a 10-year period. Now, a guy like Michael Williams, another edge rusher, because there's so many edge rushers, it doesn't make sense to take one at 10 to me. I think you really need to address offense. Some people are talking about Ashton Genty, the guy who
I
was
was
up.
just about I was just about to throw that out there. I was gonna say, um, we got a head coach that comes from Detroit, and a couple years ago, Jahmyr Gibbs was the surprise pick early
Right.
in the draft, and now you
But
got Ashton Genty out there talking Bears.
yeah, but you know why the Lions could take Jamar Gibbs that high? Because their line
They
was
had
already
their alignment
established.
good.
Yeah, that's true.
And here's the thing, too. It is such as deep as I said this draft class is with edge rushers, and it's
It's
really
just so
solid with
deep running
offensive
back.
linemen. Look, guys, I'm a little bit grayer in the tooth and in the beard, clearly, than you guys.
Hey,
But
mine's coming in, man. You can see that right there.
don't rush it. Don't rush it. It's
Hey.
but don't fight it either. Just embrace it.
I
Embrace
tried, and
it.
you know what? It just multiplied, man. It was crazy.
Yes, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You cut one, it's like
I cut one.
Hydra.
I was pulling one, and next thing you know, it was 10 there.
Right.
So yeah,
Right. It's like the mythical creature, the Hydra. You cut one off, cut its head off, 10 more replace it, or 2 more replace it.
yeah.
So as deep as it is in edge rushers and defensive linemen, and the depth in the offensive line is pretty solid too. In my lifetime, and this is probably 5 decades of me having decent recall with the players that played NFL, I don't think I've ever seen as deep and talented a running back draft class as the one that's coming out this year.
Really?
It is obnoxious. I mean, if this were the 80s or maybe even the early 90s, you could arguably have 5 or 6 running backs taken in the first round. Because of how the NFL is and the emphasis not being placed on running backs and just how disrespected they are when it comes to paying them, there may be 2, possibly 3. And I think that's with teams that are really close that, are one significant impact player away from being a Super Bowl caliber type kind of team or a conference championship caliber team. That being said, you don't take Ashton Genty because, I don't know, you could take Trevor Etienne, in the 5th round. You can take Devin Neal, who's got like 4.4 speed and catch the ball, who's 5'11", 213 in the 5th or 6th round. You can take Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee, who's a little short, but not bad for a running back at 5'8", 200, solid. He gave you 22 touchdowns this year and 1,400 yards. You can take him in the 6th round. There are going to be some guys that will be available in free agency who might end up being your starting running back in a year or 2. That's how deep it is. A guy like Ollie Gordon last year, people were talking about him. They're not even talking about him this year. And granted, he didn't have as great a year, but again, speed. And a lot of these guys are fast. Dude, Travion Henderson ran like a 4.45, I think, or something like that at the combine. And Quinshon Junkins, who's 5'11", 221, I think he ran like a 4.47. I mean, both those guys played on Ohio State's national championship team, and both those guys can catch the ball at the backfield. That's the other thing too. So many of these guys, because they understand the longevity and versatility the longevity, that versatility will allow them as a running backs. If you can catch the ball, you can stay in the NFL a little bit longer. If you can catch the ball, maybe you're not taking as many hits running through the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting hit as often. Omarion Hampton, I mean, another big, fast guy, 6'2", 221. He may be another guy that goes in the first round out of North Carolina. He can catch the ball well. One of my guys that I like is Braden Smith out of SMU. He transferred from Miami. He was a wide receiver at the U, and then he transferred to SMU last year, and they moved him to running back. Now, he's not considered a big guy, although I've seen him play physical, but his pass catching skills are ridiculous because he's a former wide receiver. So someone like him with Ben Johnson and his creativity, you can get him maybe 6th round, 7th round, free agent possibly, and then you can utilize him just as much as Jamar Gibbs is being utilized in terms of just catching people with leverage because you got the mismatch. So there are enough running backs that taking Ashton Genty would be cutting your nose off to spite your face. You need to focus on, again, Ashton can't run if nobody's blocking. So it's still the same problem. So you need to address that beginning your offensive lineman. But it'll be nice to see where Ashton Genty does wind up. I think he might be someone who could fall to the Denver Broncos. And if he goes there, Sean Payton knows how to utilize guys with his kind of ability.
All right. Did you guys see that the NFL Players Association report cards came out?
Yeah, I saw it.
And
Bears ownership got an A-.
Interesting stats. But the one that came out to me was that the lowest head coach ranking was Matt Eberflus with a C.
Really?
Yeah.
His defensive prowess.
So it's a heck of a curve line there. If a C gets you, last place. But clearly
he
there
wasn't
was
even the first coach fired.
Yeah.
He's the first head coach fired, wasn't
he? No.
Oh no, the Raiders.
Raiders, yeah.
And
right.
And Jets.
That's right. Saleh left early.
Oh yeah.
No,
but
Raiders. Pierce lasted the year. It was just Saleh.
It was just yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking last year. I'm thinking Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, it was just
I'm thinking last year. It was just Saleh. Right.
All right, but here's an interesting one with the Bears ownership.
Ownership A-.
A-.
Yeah, that sounds like they know some people.
The one that was funny to me though is they had I guess how you treat family.
They C plus 19.
I didn't look at the Bears. I just saw the fact that like Jacksonville had like an F- or some shit like
F-?
that.
Jesus.
Like damn, they must be telling families to get the hell out.
Yeah, that means that the players' family seats are in the 600 level.
600 level
in Jacksonville,
facing the sun.
Yeah.
For the afternoon game.
That's crazy. Well, no. Cincinnati, F-.
They had right. I knew somebody. I know Jacksonville got an F, but I knew somebody had an F-.
I didn't even know F- was a thing.
Oh yeah, I got one of those at Tennessee. Yeah. Actually, not one. It was a couple on there. Yeah, different story.
But yeah, the Bears. I told you guys about the Bears facility. How they just updated that, and locker rooms A-, training room B+, training staff they got a B, weight room is an A.
So
like a grade A organization, don't
so the only thing that man, it was the head coach. Everything's on the head coach. That's the issue.
They just can't win. They've generated what?
Who did this vote?
So I'm telling you, I know I predicted a 12-win season for the Bears this past season. It's coming now.
Don't do it.
It's coming now.
Don't do it.
I don't even know what the schedule looks like.
Don't do it.
Because the head coach, the 32nd ranked head coach is gone.
I know what you're doing, man. You're conflating. You're combining last two seasons. 7 wins and 5 wins. That's where you come up with that number 12. That's the only thing that makes sense to
12.
me.
That's the magic number, man.
Oh my God.
That's the magic number. Hey, let's talk some Bulls real quick, man. So they got Zach out of town, but then decided not to do anything else in the trade deadline.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why our center's still
And
here. Why
then
Vooch is
and
still here.
then Arturas Karnisovas comes to speaks to the media and says that they're gunning for a playoff spot.
Why?
Unbelievable.
Why?
I don't understand that. And it looks like they actually
Yeah, I
are
was
looking
just
for a
about to say,
play-in.
it looks
They're,
like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, because
I
other
think
teams
last I saw that
realize,
they're two games up on in the 10th spot for the play-in tournament,
which is our
and
this is can't play without the Bulls.
they play against the teams that are in their path. You know, as we talk about, you know, getting into the lottery. They beat Philly by 40. All right. Uh, Toronto comes to town, another team that's in the way there, and they come back in overtime and beat Toronto. So they're trying to get to this damn play-in game, and I'm like, why? Why?
Because it's experience. You can't account for what it does for a
But
team in
you
this
need you
growth.
need you need talent right now.
Dude, you seen
That's
the
what we don't
talent.
have.
That's what you're doing. You are cultivating and getting these players to play so that the talent can develop. This is the developmental stage right now. And if you can develop talent and make the playoffs, oh, that's a win-win, guys. I don't believe
And
any of this, by
and
the way.
now wait, Vooch has been out. Vooch has been out. Io's out for the season now.
Oh,
But they're still winning, man. Now they did lose today in Indy, but they played they played pretty well. I'm not liking this at all. We're
It's
supposed
the
to be, we're
Bulls,
supposed to be trying to go for Cooper Flag.
man. It's
That's
the
supposed to be the
Bulls,
goal.
man. The
yeah.
Bulls.
Or at least Dylan Harper, if you can't get Cooper Flag, right?
It's the Bulls. This is how we operate. We can't lose enough, and we definitely can't win enough.
No,
We're
no.
going to end up with the number 8 pick, and everyone's going to complain about just who we picked, as if it mattered anyway. So,
Well, you never know. You might get the kid out of Maryland. You know,
man, look, GM, nope, I don't want to hear none of that. We got Patrick Williams. No more might get who. Nope.
and you paid him.
And you paid him.
You paid him.
Double down on that shit.
You paid him.
hey, you can't let a 4th pick overall get out the door, man.
It's crazy.
That's what it is. No, this was your pick.
Yeah.
That's why I said you can't let him get out the door.
That's why I said
Let's not forget that.
Hey. In all seriousness, now you look at the guys the Bulls picked who got out the door. They got away from Chicago. What happens? They turned out to be pretty good players.
Yeah,
Marcus,
that's
he's pretty
true.
good there in Utah. And somebody else that escaped out of here did pretty good.
Marketing. Bobby Portis is
Bobby Portis.
of course he's suspended right now, but that's all right though.
Hey,
He
he's
won
got a
he won a title.
championship.
Yeah, he won a title.
The brother down there in Orlando, the guy we got from Wakanda, when he got drafted, he was wearing everything Black Panther.
with the car.
Wendell Carter.
He ain't doing much of shit down there.
No, he's not. But the first year or so in Orlando,
he used to kill us when we
yeah,
played.
that's true.
He definitely used to kill us.
Daniel Gordon's another one that plays pretty well.
Daniel
but
Gafford.
We gave up on. Gafford.
But Gafford was playing well here.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand why we traded him.
I'm just saying. That's why you got to keep P. Will, baby. Just think about it.
Nah, I'm good on
let him go blossom somewhere else.
Please. But that's not gonna happen because nobody wants that contract.
We gon' goddamn. I'm gonna be 50 by the time he.
Whoa, easy. Pull up the punches, man. Nothing wrong with 50. 50 is the new 40. What we saying here? See, we started off this thing with ages shit when we first began this podcast. You still on that shit, man? Come on, man.
It just be saying how long it's gonna take him to goddamn blossom.
Man.
We've been putting water on that plant for too long.
Man.
So if the NBA report cards came out, the Bulls have what, an A+ organization and
It
a
should
B+
be an F
coaching staff.
across the board.
What?
No, it's not. I think no. You know what? I bet you they would say, um,
And
outside of I think
would
coaching would probably be pretty good. I don't have an issue with Billy Donovan.
it be B- for coaching and an
Yeah,
A+ for the
that's
organization?
probably the reason we're in this position to begin with is because
He's just good enough to
of
keep it from
Billy
being too
Donovan's
bad.
good coaching. Yeah, that's why we're in a 10th spot right now. But the other thing, the facility, locker room, food,
Food, first,
I can attest to the food. The food is pretty damn good.
first class.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. I bet you organization wise they would get a decent grade.
It probably would. B+ probably be the low end.
Yeah,
Probably like an A
yeah,
to B+.
yeah. It's just that they don't develop talent. That's the only issue.
Well,
Or they
Zach
don't.
is probably happier in Sacramento now that he's on a team that probably make the playoffs.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I'm a Zach fan too, but
I
he had to
do.
go.
Yeah, I like the athleticism and seeing somebody that can actually get his own shot. It's a rare thing. We didn't see that for a long time here in Chicago.
All right. So also while we were gone, NBA All-Star Weekend happened. Snooze fest,
Definitely did it. Did it happen?
man.
News
Did the
fest.
tree fall and anyone notice? The dunk
And
contest was interesting. I mean, now that you have professional dunkers, not NBA players, but just professional dunkers come in.
You have a because
you have a
you have a professional dunker.
yeah.
Oh,
We
dunker.
ain't got to dunkers yet.
Yeah, that's true.
We
But
got a
hey,
sideshow right now.
he
Until they bring more of him in, he's a
right.
sideshow.
But an entertaining sideshow nonetheless.
I'm just saying, bring somebody in to compete with him.
Yeah, why not? At this point, don't even have NBA players do it. Just have these
Yeah,
guys
Yeah,
who
I've
are
said
really
that before.
hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna just keep
Just let
bringing
real
him
dunkers
back.
come in.
You're just gonna keep bringing the same one back. Like, come on, man.
Well, he's got to defend his
Man,
titles, man.
I'm just saying, like,
I don't know
bring
why they don't.
somebody else
Why is
back.
he not on the
Bring.
Orlando Magic roster?
No, he's terrible. He's trash.
he was
He
he's
can't
the
play.
G League MVP.
He's trash.
He's Harold Miner. He's a Caucasian Harold Miner.
He's trash.
Oh
He just
man.
dunk. That's it.
But uh but yeah, after that, obviously the media covered the All-Star game. They called it like it was. The game was trash. The players don't care. Uh LeBron um had to have known that he wasn't gonna play
He,
long before the day of the game. And then he decides 3 hours before, yeah, I'm
I,
not playing.
I
Go ahead.
retort. Honestly, I can see that, but I also can see that he might have felt, you know what, this shit might get a little competitive today.
You think so?
And you know what, I'm gonna just sit this one out. I can see both sides. I can see it. They was
Okay.
playing them damn. They was playing the G
They
Leaguers,
played the G
right?
League guys, yeah. Oh no, not the G League, the Rising Stars
Right.
team.
They
They were
played the
from the G
Rising
League.
Stars. Like
Yeah, yeah.
this could get competitive. And I felt like he might have been like, you know what?
I'm
Nah,
too old for this shit.
not tonight. But it also could have been like you said, he knew from jump that he wasn't gonna play.
I mean,
I'm just I just want to get
maybe,
both
man,
perspectives.
dude. Even if you're not feeling, look, just say, hey, so they could
Because
bring
somebody
somebody
else could
else
have got
in.
that spot.
Right, right,
Norman Powell deserved to be All Star this year.
right. They could have done that. But then after that, some players got to talking about um, the league and media scrutiny, and I think it was Anthony Edwards that said that he
He
would
don't
not
want to
want
be
to
the
be the
face.
face of the league because of the negative vibes that come with that. And then LeBron basically endorsed those sentiments. and said that it's because of the media that covers the NBA
Oh,
is
evil
too
media.
negative.
Evil media once again strikes.
And I see, man, they're only calling it the way it is, and I'm sure
No,
most
man,
of
it
that.
ain't even about calling it the way it is, man. LeBron is full of shit, man. He's full of shit when man, that's bullshit. Let's not forget. It might have been last year or maybe the year before that LeBron himself watching the NBA games saying, man, Bronny can play better than most of these dudes.
Yeah,
So tell me how that ain't shitting on the product.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not. It's raising your son's stock.
No, that's shitting on the product. Like, miss me with that, man. And like Stephen A said, it used to be a time where y'all all complained about the media being guys who didn't play the game. Now
Right.
it's primarily guys who played the
Guys who
game. Now
played
it's
that, yeah.
now it's they're haters. They're old. They hating. Like, no, man, the game sucks, man. It sucks. I do not watch NBA basketball at all.
It's a hard
I
watch.
I watch
Playoffs
I
will be
watch
good.
the playoffs is always good, but the regular season
But that's
nobody trying to
because they
see.
fighting. That's because they fighting for something.
Yeah, the effort changes.
Yeah.
Like this product stinks, man. And until y'all start holding yourselves accountable and accepting the fact that y'all contribute to this product turning to what it did, like stop trying to point the blame, man. That's soft, man. That's real soft. Like LeBron, like you better than that. At least I thought you were. Like that's weak. That's one of the weakest things I've heard him say or do in his career. To put the blame on the media for calling out the product as they should. Like, it's bad. And to sit here and think that the game and to see people on TV like Wendy, a guy who never played the game though, but you can tell he needs to stay in the good graces of these NBA players
Right.
to say that the game has never been better. Like, you got to be shitting me,
Yeah,
dog.
that's hard to say that you lie.
You got to be kidding me,
That
man.
sounds like a certain orange politician. You know,
Like, come on, man. You're saying that so that you don't piss somebody off, so that you can keep being an insider, getting your inside news and things of that nature. Like, it's bad. It's bad. No nowhere else to put it. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, and the proof is in what's going on. Ratings are down, you know,
yeah.
in just a ridiculous manner. Like I said, the All-Star game, no one that used to be, something
Must
that
see
the
TV.
fans look forward to, must see, appointment watching.
Yeah.
And now no one cares, man. The entire weekend. No one cares. And clearly the players don't seem to care, even though they're reaping the benefits of it because, you know, somehow they've got this media contract from ESPN and NBC and Amazon that's, you know, for billions. And yeah, they're reaping the benefits, but don't care what the product is, each and every night on the court. So
I agree with you guys 100%. I think where the NBA benefits is that globally,
Yeah.
globally it does better. I think here in the States, people are calling the product out for what it is and what it's lacking. I think globally it has a bit more of an appeal because the
We have more
Europeanization.
global superstars now.
Right. The Europeanization of the NBA, not just in its players, but also in the style, is more conducive to that style outside of American basketball that we grew up knowing. And so I think the NBA benefits more on a global level scale. Kind of like, an American made movie might do better overseas than it does here in the States. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the product. The NBA it purport, whereas opposed to football, American football, yeah, it has a global appeal from the Super Bowl, but here in the States, it's king. And it's king because of, its style, blah, 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 blah. The NBA, they benefit from having that overseas, that the globalization of its league. And I don't think the NBA sees any reason to change anything. And so I don't see it changing its style or changing how it goes about doing its business in terms of how the players play, either in the way that they play on the court or the type of players that are being brought into the league and where they're being brought in from. So I don't know. I don't know the evolution of where this game is going to go. It's crazy because I look now at the WNBA and I'm like, they don't have the athleticism, obviously, but in terms of seeing post play actually be a part of the game in significant aspect, it's like, man, it's nice to see that. I see some of this year's college basketball where I'm starting to see the center kind of, especially in the Big Ten, you're seeing some teams with some interior play, and they're taking advantage because so much of the game has been perimeter that middle is wide open. So you get a few big guys in there, you can do some damage and be consistent with it, and you don't have the pushback like you used to because you don't have as many players. So you're seeing some mid-range game coming back a little bit to the NCAA game, and I'll be curious to see when the tournament rolls around or these conference championships, which is just right around the corner because we've entered the month of March, and March Madness, as far as the gameplay, is just a couple of weeks away. I'll be really curious to see how much of the mid-range game has effect in this tournament, and also how far teams that have good centers advance into this tournament, and maybe NIL could help save college basketball, and college basketball, some of these guys staying and developing may, in a long term, maybe 7 to 10 years from now, help the NBA get back a little bit of the type of style of ball that we grew up watching. At least I knew I grew up watching in the mid '80s and into the '90s.
Yeah, we'll see what I did. I watched a lot of college basketball this weekend, and I did
Some good
see now.
games.
It's just yeah, yeah. Um, I told you guys I watched the Auburn Kentucky game until there were technical difficulties, but uh, Auburn is pretty damn good.
Mhm,
They play really good defense. They got really good wing defenders.
mhm.
Um, they got some really good shooters, and they just play an up tempo pace of ball, and they're gonna be pretty tough to beat come tournament time.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. But I did see it in all these games. Um, I saw more mid range stuff, like you said, but then I
mm.
also saw a lot of guys passing up open layups
Still,
to
yeah.
kick out for threes, man. I just, man, for the life of me, I don't understand that.
Get
Like,
off my lawn. Yeah.
Jesus, I'm an old man, but I just don't get that. I don't know. I gotta still get used to what's going on. But yeah, some good games this weekend on the college side. Watched Illinois beat Michigan today, which was very impressive. Very good game. Michigan State, Wisconsin was a
Yeah.
really good game.
Mhm.
Um, so watched a lot of Big Ten. I was interested. Like I said, I haven't watched up until this weekend, probably because tournament time is coming.
Right.
So I'm trying to get ready for my
Yeah, your
bracket.
bracket,
But
baby.
but I didn't know the SEC is
is
pretty dominant this year.
Loaded.
is amazingly deep because for the last several years it's been the Big 12. And then, traditionally it was always the ACC would be the deep
Right,
conference
right.
basketball wise. But this year, the SEC, it's like,
Seem like every damn school in the SEC rank.
and deservedly so. It's not even like
Yeah.
BS ratings. It's like no, no, they're pretty. I mean, the fact that Kentucky's like maybe the
Kentucky
seventh best
17.
team,
I mean, they're
right,
they're 17 in the country right now.
right, but they just got beat down by Auburn at home. So, or not beat down, but it was it was
No,
a
they got
good
beat
win.
down. It was a beat
Yeah.
down.
So, and Kentucky might be the sixth or seventh best team in the SEC. You're talking Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, um, Missouri, and then maybe you're talking Kentucky. You got you still got Texas A&M as a solid team. Mississippi State is the team that no one's really talking about that can cause problems.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I'm sure I'm probably forgetting another team or two, but uh,
Georgia's not bad.
Georgia's not bad. Texas is probably not going to make it just because it's so deep. But any other year, Texas is going to be pretty.
Vandy's, I think they won 20 games this year.
Yeah, Vandy's always like Vanderbilt and BYU are the two teams you don't expect to be there. And every single year, this seems like Vandy and BYU. BYU's in the Big 12, but
Yeah.
just the schools that you wouldn't necessarily think because they don't have the traditional athletes per se that some of these other schools do, but they just play such good basketball. So yeah, man, SEC is extremely deep. Big 12 is still solid. I mean, school like West Virginia, people forget it's in the Big 12, and they're a top. I think they're a top 20 team. Houston's a top 5 team. Kansas has been getting beat up
They've
lately, and
been,
they're
yeah.
yeah, but they're still a dangerous team. Texas Tech, um, Arizona still in the Big 12. I mean, it's BYU I mentioned earlier. So yeah, man, it should be interesting. I think the SEC might get right now. It's still early. They haven't played the conference championships yet, but look for the SEC to maybe have as little as 10 teams in there, maybe as many as 12 or 13. I think the Big 12 should probably get
12 teams from
some
the
people said
SEC.
14. I think they'll get a
Wow.
solid. I think they'll get a solid 10 in, but 10 to 12, yeah. The Big 12 will probably have a solid 7 to 8. The Big 10 is probably going to be about 6. ACC, I mean, where have you gone, ACC? Duke is still really good. Clemson is probably one of the better teams in the ACC. Louisville, not traditional Louisville, but they're still top 25. And then you've got North Carolina trying to make it into the tournament, which they probably will because they're North Carolina and they'll win some games in the ACC ACC
Tournament.
conference tournament, right? And after that, it's a potluck dinner after that as far as some of these schools and the conferences. You're going to have probably about what 25 to 30 schools that are get the automatic bids winning their conference. But it is going to be, I think, a really good tournament. I think it'll be a bounce back for the men's tournament that they didn't have last year. I think it'd be a nice bounce back. And because the women's getting all that attention last year probably embarrassed the men to some degree.
Well, hey man, I saw some good basketball. So I'm looking forward to conference tournament week. I guess they
Yeah,
start the smaller conferences start this week.
right. The women, I believe, start this week, and like you said, some of the smaller ones, and then the next week is really when it kicks off for the
Right,
power conferences.
right. All right. And good luck to my Hampton Pirates, by the way, who are 10th in the CAA. In the now the what used to be the Colonial, now the Coastal Athletic Association.
There you go.
Uh, we've won. I think we've won 5 out of our last 6. So
So yeah, 10 wins now.
no, we're over 500 right now. We got 16 wins. I think we're
Okay,
16 and
16 and
15.
14, 16
Yeah,
15.
yeah.
Okay.
We all right. We're all right. We get on a
Just
roll here in the
dangerous enough.
conference tournament, and
Yeah,
hey, you
that's what I'm
never know what
saying.
could
Just
happen,
dangerous
man.
enough. All right, there
Never
you go.
know. Never know. So
Be that 16th seed for Duke to clobber.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, you never. Hey, we pulled the upset before, so we could do it again. You never know.
Yeah, not this year's Duke team.
You never know. Um, Before we get out of here, Coach Smoke, um, you were on podcast today, man.
Yeah.
Just want to get the mentions out there. Uh, you were on the Chicagoland Baseball Chronicles.
Yes.
And
Yes.
had a nice. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I've listened to about 15 minutes of it. It's good stuff. So I definitely recommend everybody going out and checking it out on YouTube. Chicagoland Baseball Chronicles. Uh, Coach Smoke was on there. Who's it hosted by?
Borab. So Borab was on Coach Frank's first team at Simeon.
Okay.
So I want to say Borab is class of 81 out of Simeon, and then Coach Bill Haley was so he's the son of the late Joseph Haley, who founded and ran Jackie Robinson West Little League.
Okay.
And so I played for Coach Beal growing up with the Dodgers. So it was kind of like full circle. I had my JIW side and then my Simeon side
Okay.
coming together to get my story. So, yeah, it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
say this. I was able to listen to a little bit more of the podcast, and it definitely is a good listen. If you guys want to find out about little smoke, with the fro and the hat sitting on the head like that, and the hair on the outside, taking grounders, and yeah, how his the description of his first hit is just in of itself worth to listen to. So, a good podcast. You were a great guest, man. Good descriptive storytelling. You put the people there; they can see through your eyes what you experience and see your trajectory. And you give a nice timeline. And they do a great job of allowing you to share, some of your story and something that I hope people get a chance to listen to and be able to just say, hey, realize it takes more than just a notion. It doesn't happen overnight. The process is real, but the process can be rewarding in the end.
Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So definitely check that out. Chicagoland Baseball Chronicles, Coach Smoke on, and you can search that on YouTube. Go to Google. You can find it that way. And I'll say we can leave a link on ours as well.
Yeah,
That'll
that'd
work.
be nice.
That's going to
Nice.
do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch us at Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us on YouTube. Search for HP53 Productions on YouTube, and you can find our podcast there. And you can also catch it at hp53productions.com. And there you'll find a link to our podcast and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs. Yo, Glenn,
Yep.
please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say here on Easy Smoking and GM podcast. We ain't saying we're right. We're just saying that we are combine ready and we meet all the measurables.
That's right. 30, what did I say? 38 inch
38.
length. 38. I'll be a great offensive tackle. Come get me. We holler at you.